In this 2-hour course, I'm going to show you how to make tech house from start to finish, just like this.
We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Sipping down that.
This course was actually requested by some of my producer Launchpad students, but I thought I'd just give it away here for free because why not? You can actually download this entire project file for free as well down below in the description for Ableton Live 11. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing we want to do in tech house or any genre for that matter is just set the BPM in our tempo correctly. So basically, for tech house, you want to go to 125 to 128. Most tracks on Beatport that you'll buy or download will fit in that sort of range. I'm going to do 126 for this track in particular. I find 126 is nice just for a bit of speed, but also still retaining that very classic tech house sound. Once we've done that, what I like to do is create like a structure MIDI clip, which I have in my default template here. You can put this in your default template, especially if you're going to be making a lot of tech house. It can be helpful to have. And what I do is I just map out the structure. Now, a lot of producers tend to overlook this step. So what I'm going to do here is just kind of create a new MIDI clip in Ableton here. I'm going to put them every 8 bars just to kind of denote what's going on. You know, most tech house is broken up into 8-bar sections. So I'm going to have intro for 16 bars, 2 sets of 8. And then I'm going to have an intro 2 where something extra is going to come in. You know, most tech house tracks tend to have about 32 bars of intro. That's for the DJ. This is like an extended mix sort of thing. And then around the 1 minute mark, there's a bit of a breakdown. Some tracks will have a little bit of a shorter intro. I'm going to go for the full 32 bars in this case. What I'm going to do here is then create yet another clip. I'm going to call this one Bill. I'm going to call it Breakdown, if I can spell it correctly. And then I'm going to call the next one Build. So we're going to have 8 bars of sort of a breakdown, a build, and then we're going to jump into the drop around here. The cool thing is with tech house is you can kind of tease the drop a little bit in the second half of the intro here, simply because the bass line does actually come in, unlike a lot of other electronic genres, a bit earlier in the track. Tech house is this kind of halfway point between like a very energetic form of electronic music that waits till the drop to bring out everything, but it also kind of doesn't at the same time. It teases things a little earlier, which is an interesting thing I've noticed in this particular style. So we're just going to leave that there. I'm going to color these a different color just for a little bit here, just so you can see what's going on. I might even give intro 2 here, just a little bit of a different color. And then drop, we're going to do a different color as well. So I like to go drop 1A for the first one, and then I'll go drop 1B. Again, breaking it up into just different sections because I like to kind of see what's happening at each part of the drop. You know, in tech house, there's always some sort of development in the drop to increase the energy, to make the flow, continue on throughout the track. So I'm going to break it up into sort of 4 sections here. And again, we have 32 bars of drop. That's pretty standard for tech house. Let's color this maybe like a nice red or something. Maybe not that. We'll go like an orange. That's a bit of a nice color. Okay, great. That is the structure we'll use for this build. Again, you'd probably have another breakdown and build again into a drop 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, and then a bit of an outro, but we're just going to go shorter on this one here. Okay, now that we've got our structure in, we're going to start with the main drums at drop 1A here. Now, I've found a good few samples that I'm going to kind of layer in here to just show you the basics of a tech house drum pattern, and then we're going to go a bit further after that and just flesh it out. So we're going to start with our kick drum. Now the kick drum in house or in any genre really determines the vibe and the feel. You know, if you pick the right kick, you're going to get most of the way pretty early on. So I recommend spending a bit of time finding the right kick. In tech house, you want kind of a nice kick that's got a boomy sort of tail to get that club energy. You know, some tech house kicks are more punchy, some are less punchy. I've picked one here which I think is a nice halfway point, right? It's got a little bit of punch, not too much, but it's still got this nice tail. So I'm actually going to use this one. I may layer it up later, but for now, I'm just going to show you the power of using a simple sample as is. It's nothing wrong with just using a sample as is, despite what the purists might tell you. And let's just kind of put this on an audio clip. I'm going to call this kick on the channel here. Now, I like to work with my kicks in audio personally, just because I like the visual nature of it. Certain other types of drums like hats I might work with in MIDI. But for now, I'm just going to take this and duplicate it over full 8 bar section here and drop 1A. And we may add a bit of variation, but let's just listen to how that sounds. Great, solid foundation, right? It's a good sample. It creates that consistent groove and vibe that we're wanting to go for. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of variation at the end. Again, I like to get the variation with the kick drum in early. Otherwise I find I don't actually do anything to change it later down the track. So I'm gonna actually remove the last bar of kicks here to kind of create a little bit of tension. I'm actually gonna do a little double kick into bar 56 here, which is where our gap is. And then I might actually copy this last double kick over to bar 56.4 there, just so we get a bit of that repetition of that double kick, which I think will be a really cool effect. Let's go back to bar 53 here and just listen to what we've created. I'm already seeing how that's going to come together quite nicely. So that is our kick, guys. You know, a good sample, a good basic pattern just for 8 bars for now, and we'll flesh it out from there. Next thing I like to bring in is the clap. Now, sometimes I'll just use one clap sample like I have the kick here, but sometimes I find it fun to layer up multiple clap samples. I like to work with my claps in audio. Sometimes I'll do MIDI, but most of the time audio. Depends on how rhythmic the clap plans on being. And there's this great sort of bright, snappy clap that I've heard from a spin-in tech house pack that I'm going to use as my first clap for now at least. I'm going to put this on the 2 and the 4 here, right? So that's the 2, if you zoom in there, 49.2, 49.4. Just creating this classic house pattern, right? We want that 2 and 4 groove. We'll also have it going through the gap here to kind of create a bit of tension. Let's listen to how that sounds and adjust the volume to taste. Sounding really nice and punchy. It layers up nicely with that kick there. Now, I do find it's a little too bright / it just lacks a bit of body. I could EQ the clap, but in this case, I'm actually going to add in a second layer. I'm going to call this clap 2. And there's this more kind of old school kind of clap. This one here from like a 909 sort of vinyl recording. It's got a bit of that echo and that hollowness as well, which I like. So I'm going to drag this simply straight over the top. We're not going to overcomplicate things here, just as a second layer. Now, we do have to be careful when layering claps that we don't pile up the transient too much. It can get a bit pokey. So I'm just going to make sure that I put a group on here. I'm going to call this clap in all caps so I kind of know it's a group. And I'm just actually going to put on a really basic Ableton limiter, which I only use for these very simple applications, just to make sure we don't get too much loudness addition, right? When layering, you have to be really careful of that. Let's blend these 2 layers to taste and see where we land now. Speaking of, I'm just going to apply my mastering limiter here. Make sure that we're not adding any volume. I like the transparent mode, just for the sake of the recording, and we'll come back to it later to actually adjust these settings. See the limiter working there just to control those 2 clap layers together. I do like this addition without it. This has a bit more of a classic tech house feel with that extra brightness in there. So that's sounding fantastic. Now for the last kind of main drum hit, we want to put in our classic offbeat hat. Now for this, I like to use a MIDI track instead of an audio track, just because I like to be a bit more rhythmic with my hi-hats, and there's a bit of flexibility with the sampler or the Ableton sampler that I can use. So I'm actually going to use a drum rack because I do think I'm going to add multiple hats at some point, but we'll just add one for now. I'm going to call this hat rack. There's a great sort of nice sample from this bouncy tech house pack from Audentity. Sounds like this. It kind of is reminiscent of a 909 sample, but again, it's got this brightness to the beginning of the sample, which I think kind of, again, suits the tech house context, but makes it a little bit more modern for that more modern tech house sound. Let's bring it onto our C1 here. right? And I'm just going to program in a full 8-bar pattern here. And with that in mind, I'm just going to put the hat sample on the offbeat, which is between the kick and the clap here, exactly 1/8 offset. And that creates such a nice, like, classic groove, right? You'll hear once I kind of duplicate that over the whole 8 bars here, it'll sound really nice. And we've got a good foundation to work with. Let's zoom out and listen to that, and we'll blend that sample to taste. Just went up 1 dB there on the volume on the sampler. I like to control the individual hats on here rather than the fader, just because obviously the fader is going to affect other samples too. So that's really it, guys. That's the basics of the pattern. Now, obviously, we're not going to leave it here because we need to add a lot more groove, percussion, loops, one-shots to really flesh this out into that groovy, shuffly tech house sound, which it's known for. But you want to get these main hits right because that's still where a lot of the energy is going to come from. So beyond that, let's jump into adding a few extra percussion, one-shots, and loops. Now, using top loops from Tech House packs often a great, really simple way just to add that groove in. But before I do that, I want to do a bit of manual work with some one-shot samples, just because sometimes using a loop as is can be a bit tried and true, and you sometimes want to do something a little bit different. So I'm going to drag 2 more hat samples onto this drum rack. We'll find the right ones just from our, again, splice packs that we've downloaded. These are both, I believe, from Tech House packs. We'll just double check here. One's sort of this actually a Matt Zoe sample, which obviously Matt Zoe isn't strictly a Tech House producer, but has some great samples. So this one's more of an obvious sort of, how would you say, like open hat sample, a bit acoustic sounding. So I'm going to use this on some offbeats just to really add a bit of emphasis. I'm going to use it on gate mode because I only want it active as I'm holding down a MIDI note. I want it to kind of shut off to create this nice sort of Tech House feel. You know, Tech House contains a lot of open hats that will snap off, for example, when the next kick hits in. So what I have in mind here is actually a little bit of this kind of on every, at the end of every, say, maybe not every bar, but thereabouts, we might add this sort of little MIDI clip here. See how this sounds. Sounding good. Definitely too loud. We're going to turn this one a bit more into the background. And I'm also going to add a filter to it, just to kind of soften the brightness. It's a little bit too harsh. Yeah. I'm thinking if we repeat that every 2 bars rather than having it every bar, which would very quickly get tiresome. I notice a lot of producers kind of do that. I think every 2 bars on every first bar would be really good. So let's just listen to that now. Maybe even every second one we'll add it here or something like that, just to create a bit of vibe, yeah. And then we'll kind of adjust the velocity of this second one here, just because, you know, in Tech House, the velocity variation between drum hits is a huge part of the sound. You know, if everything drum-wise is at the same loudness, it will just feel really stale and robotic. That's not what Tech House is about. So we're also going to then copy this sample over to the last bar here too, just so we continue that theme along there. We may add additional variation, but I think that's a great place to start for now. Might adjust that up a little bit in volume. I think it's a little too quiet, but we still want that variation. That's sounding really good to me there. I again think we just need a little bit of a third hat, should I say now. I don't think it's quite enough variation and interest in the drums yet. I don't want to go too complex because sometimes people do that and then it just kind of sounds like a bunch of drums layering over the top of each other. I think there's a hi-hat in here. Maybe it's the first one from a Noizu pack. It's just, it's like a closed hat sample. I think this one here, it's like a more like little stabby sort of sample. Like we're just creating a little bit of this sprinkle of hi-hat energy in here. And I'm just going to put it kind of around the first hat, maybe something like this. Yeah, I think we'll put it around here as well. Just again, I want the loop for this one to be kind of every 2 bars. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of nice. I might put this one a little after actually. Oh, not that. We'll move this one back here. See how this sounds. I might layer this up with this one too, so that we get the punch of this sample layering up with this hat. Almost makes this second hat here feel, or yeah, the Matzo one feel like it's an open hat version of the first one. And then we'll loop that up. Yeah, sounding good. And I'll kind of layer that up with the same velocity hit. Maybe I'll put another one here as well, just to kind of, again, create a little bit of variation as the loop length increases. So we're at 4 bars now. Maybe we could even do this. Something like a little fill at the end. I'm not sure about that last one. I think we'll just leave it there. And then, yeah, we'll just take this full 4 bars, loop that up. What I am going to do with this hat now is just kind of add a little bit of a fade to it. Just a little bit, so the punch of this sample can come through. Yeah. And with this one too, I'm also going to add a bit of a filter just to take off that edge. Not as much, but... yeah. That's sounding really good there now. So we've got the basic kind of rhythm in there now, sounding like a real track. The issue is it's very straight sounding, and this is where I like to bring in a groove. Now, a groove is just a simple way to offset the timing of usually every second 16th note, just to make it a little more human feeling. This is used so much in tech house. So we're just going to bring in from the groove pool, which is this little one in Ableton here, we're going to go down to the swing 16ths. I like the 16ths 64. I just find that's a nice amount of groove. And you simply just drag it onto that MIDI clip. We don't really need to worry about with the kicks and the claps because they're all very much on a 1/4 note, which is not going to get adjusted by a 16th note swing. So we can leave those as is. And that's where the track comes alive, right? That is where the tech house feel is coming from. We can start to hear this feels like a tech house track, which is super exciting. Great. This is a really good baseline level of energy. I just want to add in a couple of loops. Again, I like loops because they often add this really good sort of, human feel to it. You can get certain feels from a loop that you can't get from like shakers and tambourines and other little bits of percussion that sound more human. Traditionally tech house would layer in like sort of drum loops from old school breaks and stuff like that anyway, so it's kind of part and parcel of the genre. So there's a few samples here. I've kind of found a few beforehand. One's from this Volak tech house from Dropgun Samples. You want to look for top loops ideally. If there is one that has the kick drum in, you just want to use some sort of high pass filter on your EQ. We're just going to bring this in for now. We might chop it up a little bit. When using loops, you want to make sure that the warping is correct. Now, in this case, we're using a 125 drum loop at 126, so it is going to adjust the timing. I'm just going to use complex warping mode for now. Sometimes I will use Beats warping mode down here in Ableton for drum loops, but sometimes it can sound a little glitchy. So I'm just going to use complex for now and see how we go. I also sometimes like to use repitch, which also keeps the pitch intact. Well, actually it doesn't. It actually pitches it up slightly, but it sounds more natural sometimes. Okay, that's sounding good there. Love that groove here. That's classic shuffle from the snare. I don't like this sound though. So what I'm going to do is actually cut it from an earlier part of the sample, a bar earlier. Yeah, and we'll just loop that up, right? We don't really need that whoop sound. It's probably a bit too distinctive as well, and probably is not what we want from this loop. Again, so we're just going to call this top loop 1. We're going to blend it to taste. I'm not going to make it too quiet because I really like that snare. I may add an additional snare layer to emphasize it a bit more, but for now that's really, really good. We are going to add in a second sort of groovy layer just to add that extra little bit of movement and vibe. So there was a loop from this House Nation pack, which sounded pretty good. This one was probably a little more direct, I would say, and a little more punchy. This one is also a bit slower, so you may need to use some warping modes to kind of get it up to scratch. I'm going to use the repitch mode again here, and I'm just going to use the loop as is for now. Again, nothing wrong with using a top loop, just as it is. I'm going to blend these two to taste though, because with these two layered on top of each other, I think we're going to get quite a unique sound. It's a huge cheat code just to get a unique sound is to layer 2 loops on top of each other. We also do have to be careful though that the groove embedded in these 2 clips is similar to the groove we've created on our one-shots. Sometimes a sample with like groove built into it might not align to what we've already done. So we'll have to keep that in mind when blending the volume of these 2. I'm just going to try bringing on the swing 16ths onto this second one and see how it sounds. We do have to go back to beats mode so that these little individual transients actually align, which is what we need. I'm also going to switch it to forward only mode. We don't want there to be like reverse little moments in the moving around of these samples, which can happen if it's on the default back and forth mode there with the beats warping. That kind of adjusts it a little bit. I want to see how that sounds in context. I'm going to leave it off for now. What I'm instead going to do is turn down the timing of our swing to make it a little more straight. This feels a little nicer now with it not being fully at 64, so that just kind of makes it a little more straight. Definitely sounding really good now. And the drum loop is really, really coming together. I'm really stoked. The interaction of these 2 loops in particular just sounds really, really dope. So I really like that. We'll leave that as it is for now for the drums, and now we'll move on to the bass line to really get our groove going as well. So in tech house, the bass line is less about crazy sound design and more about the rhythm and the groove of the bass line and the little slight pitch movements between each note. So what I'm going to do here is just create a new MIDI clip in Ableton. I'm going to call it bassline, and a huge awesome way to get a decent sounding sub sort of tech house bass in tech house is to actually pick like a really beefy sort of sound and to actually aggressively low pass it. So there's this great square bass in Ableton's analog. I think it's pure square bass, or square pure bass, should I say. So it sounds really kind of analog and chunky. I'm going to drag it on for now. Probably wouldn't work as is as a tech house bass. You know? It kind of almost has a bit more of a UK bass sort of feel. But to make it tech house, we need to just make it a bit more muted sounding. So what we're going to do to achieve that, and obviously you can kind of design a sub bass in your favorite synth from scratch. This is just a great technique to get some of the nice lower end harmonics into the sound still. Like a pure sine doesn't always work that well in tech house. So we could actually low pass this pretty aggressively. I'm going to use the ×4 filter on EQ8 here. And I'll probably bring it down to maybe like 150. Let's see what sounds good as we play it. That could sound good. Maybe it's a bit too intense still. We'll just leave it at 130 for now. We may add a bit more later, depending on what we need. And let's kind of jam around on our MIDI keyboard. I'm just using my computer one here. Anyone can do this. And just kind of get a feel for a certain rhythm or something. It's really helpful sometimes to just kind of jam on top of your drum loop and then play a certain rhythm on one note for now to see how it can sort of emphasize the drums in a different way. You know, again, the rhythm is so important in tech house. So let's do that now. I think I've got a cool idea here. I'm going to do like a syncopated sort of rhythm. I'm just going to do like a 1 bar sort of pattern. Again, I'm going to get the rhythm in place first. Probably going to do, I would say like F sharp as the key. Generally with tech house, you want to pick like a nice bass friendly key signature. Generally it's a minor key as well. So like F up to G sharp would work. So we're going to do something like this. Just a basic sort of syncopated pattern. So you can see how the gaps between these 3 notes are all the same, but they're kind of an odd intervals. That's basically syncopation. It's probably a bit high. Yeah, I think this needs to be a little longer in terms of note length. Let's loop that up for now, just while we get the feel going. Now, before I go any further with the composition, I do like to actually dial in the compression to the kick, so the sidechain compression. I like to use Ableton's compressor. You can use whatever tool you like, whether it's LFO tool, Shaperbox, Kickstart, whatever it is. I'll bring the sidechain in from the kick. I'll make sure it's high passing the low end out of it, so we're just getting the click as a trigger. You can, of course, use a separate sidechain trigger channel, get like the kick on a new channel. In fact, why don't we do that? We're just going to quickly create a new sidechain trigger, put it above it. We'll bring down and make sure it's turned off, and we'll just make it like wide or something. And we'll just shorten the sample so it's really just a click at the beginning, right? So something like this. That's our trigger there. So it's a really short, snappy trigger, and it makes it really easy to use. The other cool thing as well we can have the sidechain going even when there's no kick drum, like here, which can be a really cool effect. So I'm actually going to bring that in there. Sidechain trigger is going. Let's go back and change this to the sidechain input now. Let's just quickly listen to what it sounds like coming into the compressor. Yeah, see that nice tight sidechain. We'll bring it down. Now we'll blend that with the kick to kind of get a nice feel. Just going to turn it down like 0.5 of a dB. I just think it's a little bit loud. Yeah, that's really nice. And with it off. Yeah. Just creates that nice little bit of space in the mix there. Very nice reactive sidechain. And now I can kind of worry about the actual notes themselves. We can actually make some variation here. I think, for example, I want this first two notes to be a little shorter. Just so there's a bit of a gap at the end there, creating a bit of silence. So I'm actually going to copy these two shorter notes over here. Might even have this one here be shorter leading into the next one. So I'll copy this from here. Let me make this first one a little longer. And I'm going to do this up a semitone here. Now, this is actually not in a minor key specifically. This would be kind of like a Phrygian mode sort of thing, which is what a lot of people would call it. It's where you use the minor second, which is just one note above the root note. It just creates this really dark feeling. And I'm thinking I want a bit of a note slide into this next note. So I'm actually going to make sure on our synth here, we've got like legato enabled or pitch bend. I'm going to, turn on the glide, add a bit of a pitch slide, maybe not super fast. The shorter the time, the more like instantaneous the pitch slide between these two notes is. So if we listen on its own. Yeah, ignore that click for now. And there's only going to be one note at a time because it's already on mono mode, which is pretty standard for basses. That's sounding cool. It kind of puts it right in the pocket there. I'm going to go down to the minor 7 there. That's sounding cool. Let's see how that sounds. Yeah. That's cool. All right, I'm going to split this clip over here with Command D. We're going to consolidate this into a new one. And I just want to create a bit of variation to this second half. Now, what I want to do here is bring on the swing to this pattern, right? I'm going to delete the rest of it now because I want that swing from the drums applied to this. Nice. And I'm going to make this a little shorter later note here on bar 2. So it's like... Maybe make this a little shorter. Maybe I'll make this up as well. Something like this. Yeah, that's sounding good. Let's now just like loop that up and just see how that sounds. Yeah, that's sounding good. Maybe we'll do a little thing at the end here, just with like a little bit of a note run or something. So we'll maybe split this into like an octave or something. We might do an octave run. Maybe that's a bit too intense. Shorten this last one still. We don't want it to bleed into the next bar exactly. I'm going to hold Command and get a nice fine-tuned time there. Yeah. Might try the 5th. Go down 5 semitones. Maybe we'll also kind of glide into it. Yeah, and then we'll loop this up again. I think this first one though I want again to be a bit offset. Maybe even just we'll mute the first note there. Yeah, that's sounding really good. We'll actually kind of do the opposite here. We'll go up to say a 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we'll kind of go up to the F sharp up here, right? Just a little bit of a nice sort of jump. See how that sounds. I actually meant to do this on the wrong clip. Let's go back. No, go back to where it was. Which I think was... where did I think I'd done the wrong thing here. Yeah, I think I need to swap this one and this one around. So I think this is a little early in the pattern to be happening. So I'm going to split these clips, make the simpler sort of original one go down here. That's sounding good. And then we're going to do, we'll also paste that there. And then we'll do this last one as a little bit different. So we're going to go, we'll go dun, 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 you know, sort of up the octave. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we'll have it kind of blending into the F sharp there, something like that. Maybe we'll shorten that as well. Something like this. Yeah. Maybe that's a bit high there. That is sounding fantastic. And that is like so much of the track done there. You know, tech house, it's all about that detail with the rhythm and the groove. You want to put a lot of effort into the exact timings with this. You could follow exactly what I've done or do something completely different. But we'll leave it at that for the bass line. Now we're just going to be adding in some extra synth stabs, lead sounds, those kind of things to fill out the mid-range a bit more. Again, you don't want to do too much in that range as to overpower the drums, but it is important we've got some other little detail in there. So we're just going to add that in now, something that complements what's going on rhythmically, and we'll go from there. Okay, so now we're going to create a bit of a lead sort of top line for this track. Again, this is probably not going to be like the main thing to listen to throughout the track necessarily, but it's just something to fill out the mid-range a little bit. We're going to kind of tie in rhythmically with the bass line. I'm going to create a new MIDI track here to do that. Shift Command T. And also, one thing to be aware of in tech house is some synths, you know, maybe in the more modern forms of tech house, like in Noizu, Torrent Foot type tracks, you know, you're going to get a more obvious kind of bright synth lead sort of thing. However, in more of the classic tech house, you're probably going to get something a little more subtle, a little less obvious, maybe a little more infrequent in the mix. Like it might just be the occasional stab here and there. I'm just going to do a bit more of a modern sort of lead for this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up Serum. We're just going to design a really basic sort of patch from scratch. I'm actually going to firstly get the kind of lead sound in though. So let's go ahead and just do that. Again, we're just going to put in a MIDI clip here. And we're probably going to, we might make it a little longer to kind of tie into the bass line rhythm. The difference is there. And I'm just going to kind of jam on the F sharp for now, which is this one here. Maybe I'll just... And I'll also check on our 16th, so we get that swing in there. Maybe we'll do something syncopated like this. Maybe even a note at the beginning here. Maybe I'll mute this one. Yeah. That could be cool. All right, let's kind of design the sound now that we've got that in there. We may go down the octave actually, so I'm going to select all MIDI down. Yeah, that's sounding a bit better with the vibe of the track. We're going to chuck in, I reckon, just a basic kind of saw-based sound. I'm thinking this Juno oscillator, which is kind of a more analog type saw. Something like this one. Then we're going to do a default saw maybe as well on top, maybe up the octave. We'll go through a bit of a filter. We'll do an envelope 2 sort of thing. Oh, not on the resonance. Just get a bit of a plucky sound. put both through. Might even go down the octave. Maybe we'll go as well. What kind of lead melody should we do? I think maybe I'll mute this first one. I'm gonna go here. Yeah. Maybe extend this one out. Yeah, that's sounding nice. I'm gonna add a bit of release to the envelope here. Yeah. We're gonna take all this MIDI. I'm gonna go up the octave, I reckon. We'll go up a fifth. Yeah, go down the octave. Yeah, we'll go that fifth down the octave and up the octave, maybe. Yeah. That's a good sound. All right, let's bring this filter down a bit. Yeah, that's sounding really sick. Might even just put it through a little bit of distortion or something. I'm going to use my reverb send here. Look at this main verb or this bass verb, which are two kind of... The bass verb's a bit of a brighter reverb with less low end. I'm just going to try chucking it through a couple of these. It sounds good. I think I'm going to put a second synth layer in, and maybe for the sake of time, we'll just use a preset instead of the original, like an original kind of designed sound. I'm just going to go to my preset packs. I think there's one that I've used in Tech House before. I think it's this one. Might take out the bottom middle note there. Maybe I'll go up the octave. Like this. And all down the octave. Yeah, try layering this in. Maybe up the octave here. Yeah. Call this one lead 2, call this one lead 1. Yeah, that's sounding sick. Let's bring the sidechain from the bassline onto this lead group and maybe adjust the settings a bit. Bit less. Now they should both have the swing 16 supplied. Yep, okay. We're going to copy that, and then for the second one we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to go and select all these ones. Turn off this second layer for now. Maybe we go up again. Oh, not that. Maybe we'll go up here. Yeah. Not sure which of those two we'll use yet. Let's try... Ooh, I reckon up higher. I reckon that's gonna sound better. Okay, I'm gonna put this second one down a bit. Wonder if I need another octave. And then we just kind of take... Yeah, I like that extra energy created by that lower note. Let's just take the low end out though. Yeah, this is sounding sick. Let's sing this other one. Wonder if we should go down the low octave for this. Oh, yeah, that could be good. Wondering even if this top layer should be taken off here. Oh, yeah, that makes it way better. This sounds a lot more like clean and not as pokey. I'm also going to go into this patch here, just turn off some of this reverb and stuff that's already on the patch. Turn it down even on the send. Yeah. Make it a little snappier. I'm wondering if I should change this pattern up a little bit. Let's just turn off this. Not sure. Nah, I think I liked it as it was. Let's go back. And we'll redo the speaker on change. Yeah, sounding so sick. I'm going to add this reverb at the group level as well. And we're going to add a bit of, let's also a bit more. Might add a little bit of OTT here just before, just to get that energy. Yeah. And we'll copy that over. Great. I'm actually going to do a second variation of the drop here. I'm going to already start expanding out. And then on this one, I reckon I'm going to take the MIDI here up an octave. In fact, what I may even do is have a MIDI effect on the chord device up the octave. And I'm going to enable the modulation on that. So let's go to modulation on for that. Boom on this one. And we'll add that to a new scene. There we go. That way, every 8 bars, something's a little different, right? And then we'll go here and something a little different. Great. Okay, I think that's sounding really good for this lead. We might even just leave that for now, and we'll come back to it later and maybe add a bit of difference. Oh, actually, one thing I want to do here before we actually even jump onto that, so I just want to add a bit more chorus on the group level. So I'm just going to go to my plugins here. I really like the towel chorus effect, which is like a Juno chorus kind of sound. Just gives it a bit of stereo width. I'm going to bring the volume down because sometimes it adds way too much volume. Yeah. Just adds that nice bit of stereo kind of vibe. Yeah, we'll fill in these gaps now. I think I'm going to do some sort of vocal work. So we will get to that in just a second because vocals are obviously a big part of tech house. So for the vocals in these gaps, I'm just going to do like a simple kind of 4-phrase thing, and I'll kind of show the processing behind it. When I write vocals, what I like to do is sometimes I'll have like a notes app open. I might use pen and paper, write it down. For the sake of you guys watching though, I'm going to, and we'll call it vocal, I'm going to actually use the info view here. So you can go edit info text, and we're just going to use this for the lyrics, right? We're going to really quickly come up with something like kind of tech house sounding, right? So something about like being in the club or something like that, right? You can use your imagination here, and you can get more creative than probably I'm going to get, but hey, this is the real raw process. So let's kind of play it along. I'm just going to kind of mumble something and see where we get, right? So let's play this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Sipping down that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, come on. I'm just going to use the same sample repeated. Down that. Yeah. Okay. And then let's go to the second half. Yeah. Put the beat in the. Put the beat in the. Put the beat in the. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. Yeah, we're just gonna repeat that. We got blast off in this. Okay, let's do that last one. We got blast off in this. Yeah, okay. Now we just need to go and record. So I'm gonna chuck on Volt 2 here. Now the timing may not be fantastic. I'm just gonna flick off probably some of the plugins I got here. I'm gonna flick off the master for now, and we'll just chuck on the metronome with the lead, I think, because those are the two biggest things. We'll arm our track, get some audio in, bam. All right. Make sure it's not coming through while we're recording. Again, we might probably just, with the latency on our metronome and whatever, we're probably just going to have to bring it back a little bit in time, but that's okay. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Put the beat in the. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Put the beat in the. Put the beat. We got blast off in this. Yeah, okay. That was real cringe, but whatever. All right, let's see where we get to. Might have to adjust it a little bit. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. All right, so what we'll do is just to make the timing way better, is just bring it all back till it sounds good. Sipping down that. Put the beat in the. We might do it one by one as well, just so we get the full sort of effect. So which is better to do anyway. Put the beat. It sounds real cringe for now. Put the beat in the. We'll come back and do that one in a second. Let's trim off this top here. I think the first take was definitely better. We got blast off in this, except this last one. We got blast off in this. Yeah, that one's way better there. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Put the beat in the. Put the beat in the. Yeah, that's cool. All right, so what we'll do is we'll just kind of use the first bit there. Now we're just going to kind of do some basic processing to get the vocal up to scratch. Really sharply cut out all the low end. Yeah, come on. I think this and this one also will just need to go. We'll chuck Complex Pro warping on all these, but the first two are just a bit quieter, so I'm going to bring them up in volume so we kind of see they feel like they're at a better volume. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Yeah. Put the beat in the. I'm going to also chuck on some intense, hefty compression. We're probably going to use Ableton's compressor just to keep everything stock. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Use the makeup gain feature. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. We're also going to use a gate to get rid of that noise. Yeah, come on. 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 We're going to bring up the high end here. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. We're going to probably use a bit of OTT as well. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. And then I love to use the Alter Boy plugin. Although actually, instead of using Alter Boy, let's just do it in the pitch mode. Yeah, come on. Yeah, yeah, come on. 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 Not sure if I like that. I might try just normal complex instead of pro. Yeah, come on. 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 Yeah, I think I like that first one. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Sipping down that. I think this one's better. Sipping down that. 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 I think this starts a little early, so we'll go in here. I'm going to turn off the grid. And we'll turn the grid back on now. Bring that on there. Sipping down that. Maybe like a bit of a fade in like that. Something like that. Sipping down that. Sipping down that. Down that. Kind of like the glitchiness that chopping provides. So let's like duplicate that. Sipping down that. Sipping down that. Put the beat in the. Put the beat in the. Put the beat in the. We'll also get the beat there because that's a bit late. Bring that early. Put the beat in the. Put the beat in the. And now that's a bit late. So early. So we'll chop that back. In the. Put the beat in the. Put the beat in the. Beat in the. Put the beat in the. Put the beat in. Put the beat in. Put the beat in the. Put the beat in the. Put the beat in the. Maybe this bit we'll chop from there. Beat in the. Put the beat in the. Yeah, that's good. Put the beat in the. Put the beat in the. All right. We got blast off in this. Yeah, this is sounding good. We got blast. Yeah, come on. 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 Sipping down that. Sipping down that. Gonna try and get some more high end into this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Sipping down that. Put the beat in the. Put the beat in the. And then we're gonna use another layer of compression maybe. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. And maybe even like some heavy limiting or something just to really bring out the vibe. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Gonna probably move this compressor a little earlier too. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Bring some of the dry in. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Sipping down that. Put the beat in the. Put the beat in the. Do a little bit more EQ work. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Some of that muddy, like low mids. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Take some of this out. Yeah, come on. 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 Might do a little bit of extra EQ work at the end here, just before the limiter. Yeah, come on. 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 See how that sounds in the context of the mix. We also will just bring on our compressor here. I might need something to kind of give it a bit of thickness in the mix. I might try a bit of parallel pedal maybe. Yeah, come on. 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 Try that. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Sipping down that. Yeah, come on. Yeah. Take more low end out. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Some reverb. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Sipping down that. let's bring that across.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
Might duplicate the whole channel and just try like some different vocal effects to layer it up.
Yeah, come on. 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 Yeah, come on.
Like, see how those sound together.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sitting down there. Sitting down there. Put the beat in there. Put the beat in there.
This second one, I'm gonna take more lows out.
Yeah, come on. 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 Sitting down there. Sitting down there.
I'm also going to group these together and put them through a stereo imager I got set up on the bus. Just give it a bit of stereo.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
Just because it's very mono sounding. This just is using Ozone Imager 2 to give it a bit of width.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sitting down there. Sitting down there.
Balance the lead out with volume stuff.
Yeah, come on.
Gonna use a bit of EQ to kind of bring some of the tops out of the lead.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sitting down there. Sitting down there. Put the beat in there. Put the beat in there. We got blast off in this.
Gonna put the limiter back on now.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sitting down there. Sitting down there. Put the beat in there. Put the beat in there.
Yeah, this is sounding really good. I'm actually gonna bring up the timing of the 16th a little more.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sitting down there. Sitting down there. Put the beat in there. Put the beat in there. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sitting down there. Sitting down there.
I'm gonna do some final EQ on this group here.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
On this one in particular,
Beat in there. Put the beat in there. Put the beat in there.
I think there's a bit too much here.
Put the beat in there. Put the beat in there.
Turn this second one down.
Put the beat in there. Put the beat in. Put the beat in there. Put the beat in there. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sitting down there. Sitting down there.
Yeah, sick. Now it's just all about fleshing this out a bit more, fleshing out the drop, adding effects, and then we'll go to the intro and kind of get a build going and stuff like that. Okay, so now we're just going to flesh out all 4 sections of our drop with effects, variations, and that sort of thing. So first thing I want to do is head to Splice and just find like a nice crash symbol. I'm going to type in crash here, filter it by crash, probably go to Tech House as the genre. Again, it's just good with the effect symbols in particular, especially the main ones. It's good to just have like really solid, reliable ones at work in that style. I'm going to remove the search term of now filtered by Tech House and Crash. That sounds like a good one. Ooh, that could be like a nice kind of backgroundy one. Maybe that's not going to work for every single one. Maybe I'll put it at the beginning of the drop for now, just to see how it sounds. We'll call it Crash. Yeah, good sample. I'm just gonna now unwarp it, make sure there's no glitches there, turn down the volume.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sitting down there. Sitting down there.
It might be good to use a second different crash though. Similar, but different. You know. Maybe I will use the same crash.
We got blast off in this.
And I'm just going to use a little bit of a section here just to reverse into it.
We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
Yeah. Add a little bit of a fade, I reckon, on both. I really like that though. Maybe we'll add a few additional effects. I'm thinking of some sort of more subtle impact halfway through each 8-bar section. Maybe like Maybe this one's good. Kind of more of like a rhythmic crash, like something a bit snappier and stabbier. Let's put this here. Yeah, that's good. Maybe make it a bit quieter. Wonder if we should layer it at the beginning too. Maybe not. Just gonna turn that down a bit more though. We're gonna call this crash bridge. So we're gonna use it as like a bridging crash. Maybe we'll also shorten it a bit. Yeah, just like that, so it really snaps off. And I want more of like a riser effect every 2 8 bars. So I'm gonna call this like a mid drop riser, just because partway through your drops, it's good to have like a little bit of a sort of micro build, just to kind of keep the energy flowing, especially into the second half of the drop. So I'm just imagining that would be good to have. So let's go find a riser. Now for this, I think I'm just gonna use like a nice classic cashmere riser sort of effect. So let's see what we can find here. Yeah. Could be a bit long. That could work. I feel like this top one actually could be a nice longer one if we just shortened it a bit though. I think it's a bit too long. So let's bring that in. Unwarp it so it kind of is the right length. Obviously, we'll make sure this end kind of lines up. Perfect. Let's bring down the volume now. Yeah, that's sounding really sick. I'm just going to use a bit of EQ to take out some of these lows though. Yeah. We got blast off in this. And what I want to find for this drop B here, when that extra synth layer comes in, I want to find like a nice tech house shaker. So I'm going to find a shaker. Again, we're going to go filter by tech house. We want to find one that kind of fits the groove of our track. Oof. That could be nice. That's got like a nice kind of tinniness to it. Again, we might have to just make sure the warping is all good. Let's just bring this sample in. It's got a bit of panning on it too, which could help it to stand out in the mix a bit. Got to make sure the original BPM is set there, 128. We can use complex for now. We'll see how that sounds, and then we'll make sure it does loop up by enabling loop. We just got to make sure that the loop length is actually right on the full 4 bars. Yeah, come on. Let's just see how that transition feels. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Spin down that. It's very subtle, but it works quite nicely. I think what I would then do, I would actually do a full 2 bars at the end here as like a transition. And then we would actually mute the bass line for a bar. I think that's a nicer transition. We got blast off in this. And then I'm gonna not have the lead in kick there. We got blast off in this. And I'm gonna actually turn off all the loops, all the offbeat hats, just for this little hit here to create a little moment. Any fades we need to do, etc. Just to create this moment like this. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to continue the drum arrangement from 1A. Plus, I am going to add in our new shaker loop we've got, because I do want to continue that through. And I'm going to not have the lead in this section. I'm actually just going to continue the bass line as it is. And maybe I won't even put the vocals in as much. Maybe I'll put the crash in. And maybe what I'll even do is just put like, if I place the lead here, I'm gonna put this little hit in here. Yeah, and just remove all this stuff. Just have it like as like a little one-off thing. I'm gonna delete all this stuff. We'll even just maybe have a little bit of a leader. And maybe we'll just have it this one. I also want to automate the amount of reverb in this section. So I might have a little more reverb than I normally would just to allow that stab to kind of echo out. Yeah. And then maybe I'll just put the last vocal phrase in there.
We got blast off in this.
Yeah. I think then we can kind of copy what's going on with 1B here again for the drums. So we'll copy that over. But then I'm going to mute the first 4 kicks. And we'll actually turn off these. We'll do the double kick a bit later. And we'll kind of have like a false start for 1D, right? So it's like this.
We got blast off in this.
And I might even cut out some of the more groovy drum loops like this. So we just kind of... Maybe this one we can keep going. Yeah. Keep the bass line going. Copy all of this stuff for all the lead stuff.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Spin down that.
There we go. Copy that across, copy the crash across, and then we'll copy that final riser across too. Bam. This is starting to really come together. Let's see how the drop kind of feels now.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Spin down that. Spin down that. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Spin down that. Spin down that. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that. We got blast off in this.
Oh, didn't mean to loop that.
Off in this. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
All right, what this last one needs, I reckon if we go to the default drums in Ableton, I'm going to grab like a 909 kit here. We're going to do like a classic ride cymbal.
Yeah, come on.
And I reckon what we'll do is we'll hold off on the crash cymbal to here and we'll put this false little bridge crash in here.
We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
And what will happen when this crash cymbal comes in here, we'll put a little ride loop in. We'll use this loop.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
So we're gonna do every first one a little down like this. So it'll be like this. Yeah, sounds good. Let's just keep that looping up there. We'll EQ it a bit as well.
Come on. Spin down that. Spin down that.
Yeah, we'll high pass that a bit.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Spin down that. Spin down that. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that.
Yeah, that ride there really makes the difference.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sitting down there.
That high pass sounds good.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sitting down there. Sitting down there. Put the beat in there. Put the beat in there.
And I'm going to do a little fade out on a utility of the rides towards the end here, just to fade them out.
We got blast off in this.
And I'm going to mute the bass line for the whole last 2 bars this time.
Put the beat in there. We got blast off in this.
That's sounding like a really, really solid drop. Really happy with that so far. Now I'm going to kind of turn to the beginning of the track, the intro, the build, the breakdown, and kind of see how far we can get based on what we've already got for the drop. So we'll go into that. Okay, so now we're going to go to the intro and just kind of flesh it out a little bit. To be honest, my basic plan is, which is pretty standard in tech house, is to introduce like the drums from the intro with a bit of a high pass on them, maybe bring like the kick drum in here, and then I kind of want to bring the bass line in more or less around intro 2, just in a really simple fashion, kind of similar to how I do it here. Maybe without the stab. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all of the drums. Basically, my plan as well is to just kind of use the same 4 bars looped. I'm going to use less of a fill in this section. Just because I don't think it really makes sense to bring in all the energy. And what I am going to do is just mute the kick for like 4 beats or something like that. Again, we're just basically doing a simplified, stripped back version of the drums. In fact, what I'm going to do for the first 8 bars is just actually mute all these extra little hats, more or less. We'll see how that sounds for now. We might even play around with the top loops, but let's just play this for now and see how we go. In fact, what we might even do with this top loop here. I might even see if I can just loop this same like bar over and over again. Maybe I'll like take out this little snare here as well, so it's not like a loop. You know, add a little fade there. That might make it sound a bit nicer. A little more stripped back as well. Sometimes it's great to go in and chop loops like this, just to make them a little different throughout the track. And I might even do that with this loop at the top here, just loop that same 2 bars over and over again. And then I'm gonna pull that old one in from here. Yeah, so just making it a little bit different. I might even, with this open hat, I just realized, I wanna do that thing I said earlier. I'm actually gonna switch this to 1-shot mode. And I'm gonna play around with the decay and the sustain here. And I just want it to have like this shortness in the intro. And then at bar 9 there, I might bring in the full open hat, right? So we'll see how that sounds as well. Maybe I'll even mute these. I don't know if that'll work though, because of the little gap that fills in there nicely. Yeah, cool. All right, what I'm going to do now is just duplicate that over. I'm going to make sure that the automation does go up here again. I think it removed for some reason. Okay. I think what's going on here is these loops already have a bit of a hat in them, so they just feel a little bit too snappy already. You know what, that's what I'm going to do, is I'm just going to mute this top loop there for the beginning. Great, that's sounding really good. I'm going to grab an EQ on the kick here, and I'm just going to high pass it for the first 8 bars too. About there. Just so we get a bit of that fundamental kind of poking through, like obviously the fundamental's down here, but the feeling of the fundamental poking through in this upper frequencies of the lows here. You can see that bump. There we go. And what I'm going to do then is just automate the on-off of the filter there, of the EQ. So we got that in the intro. I'm going to put some effects in here in a little bit. Might start to tease a few of these hats kind of towards the end here. Lock this automation. Put the full drums in here. I'm gonna put a double kick in here leading into the intro, and this is where the bass line will kind of come in. So for this intro 2 section, I'm pretty much gonna copy drop 1C as is for now. We'll remove a few of the elements because I haven't introduced them all yet, but that's like the most stripped back part of the drop, and I think I want intro 2 to feel a little bit like that, right? And so we're gonna strip it back even further. For example, I'm going to remove these stabs. Also going to remove these shakers. Going to have a little reverse in here. I'm going to copy this crash over to every halfway through each 8 bar section. So yeah, and I think also what I want to do in this section is take the lead MIDI. I'm actually going to insert a new instrument. I'm going to copy this here, over here. We're probably just going to pull up a really basic serum patch. I might even just design it myself. Just like a really kind of just functional sort of sound, I guess you could call it. I'm going to go and just find something really random. That's a bit low. Only make it one note. And I want this to sort of just tease the main synth in a subtle way. Alright, could work. It's not quite right. Oh, that could be a friggin' sick idea for a different track. Yeah, this is cool. I'm going to make it a bit more mono. I'm going to just bring the width down. Maybe even we'll turn off the noise. Yeah, this is a good sound. Maybe go up the octave. We're going to turn down the reverb and delay. What I actually am going to do is make it go back down the octave. I'm going to call this synth tease. We're going to high pass all of the like low end out of it. Turn up the volume to compensate. Copy over some sidechain settings. What I'm going to do is actually just loop this first bit over, and then we'll just kind of loop it like this. This is just a subtle way to tease the main synth. We'll see how that sounds anyway. Let me give it a bit of OTT to just give it some oomph. Yeah. And then here, what we might do is actually just take all this MIDI, select all the clips. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to keep that lead there. I think I might introduce that a little later. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to copy over this again. I do like the vocal kind of being teased there. And then what I am going to do is I'm going to bring in the vocal here. And this is really just where the game of subtlety comes in, right? Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, and we'll continue the bass through here. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. I want to add like a big sort of reverb thing there. We will get there soon. I am going to bring through the reverse sweep towards the end here. I'm just going to put a little thing here to indicate the breakdown. You can see how like doing the intro and stuff like that is just a very smooth process of thinking of how the energy is going to flow over time, because you don't necessarily have all the answers right at the beginning. Copy this little crash over, and let's just kind of listen and see how the energy is flowing so far. We may want to add this little reverse here as like a false reverse. Let's listen. I want to add some sort of string sound. I'm actually going to go to Splice for this, wherever our Splice browser is. We're just going to look for like a nice tension sort of string preset. So let's go to the presets here on Splice. See if... Yeah. Ooh. I think this one at the top was the one we were going for. So SMDHR string tension. Let's use that one. Kind of a classic sounding string, but it's also pretty polished, which is kind of what I wanted. So let's see if we can find this in our Splice pack. What was it called? SM for Sample Magic. All right. Let's bring this in. Boom. Make sure it's kind of in the key of our song. I actually want to bring it in a little early, but for now we'll just program in a quick F sharp. I am going to add a bit of a low pass to just tame off the high end. I am also going to add a bit of sidechain to it just to give it a bit of bounce. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly sort of tease this by bringing it up here over time, maybe like this. Yeah. Curve it. I'm going to input the crash here again. I want them more frequently leading up to the breakdown, just because we want to build energy, right? So we want to make sure we're doing that. Yeah, that's a nice transition. We're really starting to get somewhere with this intro, I think. The one thing I do want to use is I do want to put this vocal here a bit earlier. We got blast off in this. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, I also want to add some delay to this signal here on the vocals, just to really get like this cool sort of, maybe even on ping pong. Like I want this echo out effect basically, right on this second one here. So I'm gonna actually make sure it goes on just here for a few bars. Maybe not ping pong, and we'll make it 8 instead of 4. Increase the feedback quite a lot. Bit more even. And we might even do the same thing with this here. I think that'll be really, really cool, just to like, this is basically just teasing what's gonna come very soon. Yeah, so same thing there. Let's show the automation. We'll simply put it here until the breakdown, right? More dry wet. Yeah, and that's leading quite nicely into the breakdown. The last thing I want to do is I just want to add a few more effects, and I want to see if there's a way I can kind of tease the vocal in some way. Down there, down there. Even if it's just finding like a little. Yeah, you know what I might do is like take that little vocal chop there, and just kind of put it in the intro here somewhere. Yeah, and I might even chuck the delay on for this intro here, just so it's a little, there's something going on. That just kind of teases the vocal in a very subtle way. Yeah, and I want another impact here. So I'm going to go back to Splice. We're going to go for like an impact, you know, something with some noise on it. Let's have a listen to what's here. Yeah, this is more of a future bass one, but hey, sometimes it's nice to use like a non-generic sample. We might want to use something a bit future bassy. Might need to get it suited to the track. But let's do this for now. It's kind of nice to have impacts that happen less often in the track, indicating a bit of a switch up in section. I might use this one leading into the breakdown a bit too. Yeah. Nice. I'll just fill that in quite nicely there. You know what else I might do in the intro? I just had this really cool idea. Is to find like a nice crowd sort of sample in my, just a random sample pack. Something that like feels quite energetic, you know? Don't know where this one is from, 2020, somewhere in my sample library. Let's use it. And we'll loop up like a cool part of it, right? So we'll just turn off warping and turn it back on to kind of get back to the original timing. Find a nice part. We're just going to like loop up I'd probably say like a 2-bar section or some sort. Might even go for a more subtle part like this. Maybe even here. And then what we might do is we get to bar 3. We're going to use a different part of the sample just to keep the energy going. Something like this could be cool. Something like this. Maybe even take a bit and reverse it. We're just going to kind of create this subtle background energy, right? So we can even take this. There we go. Like, let's loop that. And then what I'd say we do is get the utility here. We're just going to start to bring down the volume subtly over time, just so we get a bit of this reduction of energy. And we want to out by the kind of the intro 2 section, right? This is just a really cool way to start the track. I'm actually going to mute.
We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
I think for this last intro 2 section, I am going to pull out these rides that we brought in earlier.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
Fade them out. And then we're going to take out the kick for a bit longer here. Pull the bass out there. And then I think here I want to tease the lead sound again, this thing we used here. And then I want to put the main vocal in this section, so it's like we're finally getting to that vocal hook, right? We'll go for like that for now.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Sipping down that.
And then we slowly start to bring in the main bottom part of the lead.
Put the beat.
No, we don't want that layer. I reckon we want this layer.
Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that.
Then we're going to go.
We got blast off in this.
And then we bring in the fullness of the lead here.
Yeah, come on.
With all of the drums kind of from this section onward. Maybe even from this section onward, but we want to, again, have no kick drum. Oh, let's go build.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
So we'll continue this going on.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
Have the string again.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Sipping down that. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that.
And then everything cuts out here, right? So we kind of are starting to get a bit of energy building. We obviously want to put this full-on sweep in. I think for this build, I want to get a second sweep though. So I'm going to call this one main riser, so we can kind of get that energy just in this build in particular. You know, we want a second rise that really indicates the energy. So we're going to look for another riser. Let's see what we can find. Something longer. Yeah, I think this kind of riser is exactly what I'm looking for. So let's bring that in. Going to copy it to our clipboard. Going to paste it. Unwarp it. We may even need to bring in a couple of different ones depending.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Spin down that. Spin down that. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
We might even pull everything out. Pull everything out here, more or less. And I might even take, if we go to the bass line, there's that one note, I think, right on the edge of one of the little clips here. Yeah, this one. I'm going to put that right on the tail end here.
Yeah. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
I'm feeling this temptation to use the washout effects. I think this is bass. Yeah, the bass clef one. Everyone's used this sometime before. You could use something like Endless Smile. Just works so great in Tech House. I'm gonna put this on the master. Just and then cut it out right here. This just helps to build that little bit of energy.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Spin down that. Spin down that. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that. We got blast off in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
That's so sick. Now I just want to create a sort of snare build. Sometimes it's fine to just use a sample, but this time I want to kind of create my own just to make it a little unique. So I'm going to... you know what? I might even use like a trap snare. Sometimes I've heard that done in a few kind of tech house tracks. What I'm going to do here is bring it over into a sampler. So basically you just want to go for like that 16th pattern. You want to add the swing onto it to get that effect. Yeah. And then we just want to automate sort of pitch, filter, all these sorts of things. And then I'm going to go build snare. Yep, so that's sounding good. We're going to build it up like this.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Spin down that. Spin down that.
And I think halfway through I want the pitch to come in. So let's go to the envelopes here. I'm going to open that up. We'll go to the MIDI control pitch bend. We're going to go up like this, right?
Spin down that. Spin down that. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that. We got blast off in this.
And then we're going to do that little reverse here.
We got blast off in this.
Actually, I'm going to... Well, with this washout, I'm going to go a beat early.
We got blast off in this.
And fade it out.
We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Spin down that. Spin down that.
This is sounding sick.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
I wonder if this one has a bit of a volume change in it. Maybe, maybe not. I may add a volume change later. But we're really starting to see this all come together. So let's just listen from the transition out of the intro into the breakdown and see what's missing.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Sipping down that.
Sidechain.
Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that.
Okay, so I'm going to bring a filter in here just to kind of transition this moment here.
Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that.
Yeah, just to make that a little more tension building.
Put the beat in that. Put blast off in this.
A little bit of a reverse here. We're going to do the crash again.
Put the beat in the. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sit it down there.
I feel like there needs to be a bit more of a build a bit earlier. I'm going to bring up the washout a little bit more earlier, but also I think some of the percussions could kind of continue through this section, if that makes sense. So we might bring this open.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
Again, I'm just going to get a utility of some sort, maybe even just some volume automation.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Sipping down that. Put the beat in the. Put the beat in the. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Sipping down that.
I'm wondering if I should actually, instead of using just the straight pattern, I should use this.
Put the beat in the. Put the beat in the.
Nah.
We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sit it down there. Sit it down there. Put the beat in the. Put the beat in the. We got blast off in this.
Yeah, that's sounding sick. Now all I'm going to do is take this, like, this beat in the beat, in the beat, in the beat, in the beat, that, and then I'm just going to kind of loop that up.
We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Sipping down that. Put the beat in the. Put the beat in the. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Sipping down that. Put the beat in the. Put the beat in the. We got blast off in this. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that.
Sounding really sick. There's just a few changes. I want to add like a sort of variation to the bass line. I actually am going to load up the same preset, I think. And what I have is I've got this sort of this rack I made a while ago. Can't remember how long ago. It's like it basically just takes the sound and then turns it into like a cool mid-range sound. I also want to see how it sounds on certain versions of this. I probably won't use it all the time. I'll explain the rack in a second, but like I think in this section here, for example.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Sipping down that.
Yeah, so all it's doing is it's like taking the upper low frequency, so like just above the sub range, but kind of up to the mid range, adding an EQ, noise from erosion, overdrive to add distortion, very subtly. In fact, let me just kind of go through these effects one-on-one so you actually understand exactly what's going on, because it's a lot of processing. Don't want you to miss out. So, yeah, EQ takes the sound, the original bass sound, targets that range, adds some noise, some overdrive, really makes it gnarly sounding. OTT. Beefs it out. Another filter to just target even the same range again. Now it's really like full, but only that range, right? More noise. A bit of a wider one this time, like a bit as in the actual width of the noise. Saturated to give it some beef. More OTT. And some final EQ to tame those highs and lows. I just feel like it layers up really nice. We will bring the sidechain from the bass over here as well. I'm just going to use this occasionally in certain hits, right? Yeah.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
I might even just use it on this one. Or actually, I might put it. I might tease it here. I might use it on this little fill here. That just adds a little something to the bass. That's really, really sick, actually. Yeah, it's just nice to sprinkle in there, I think. That's really sick. A nice addition. Glad I added that. And I'm just going to now kind of basically go through. We're going to do a big picture overview of the whole track. I'm actually just going to collapse everything down. See what's missing. See what I can kind of polish up in different sections. I'm going to need to add a few more effects. Maybe I need to mix things. But then we will do a final mix at the end. So I'm going to head to that now. So as our final sort of check and then final mix and master, I'm going to check everything vertically then horizontally. And what that means is basically I'm going to go through each of my elements and see if they are the best they possibly can. I'm then going to see how the arrangement flows in terms of time and see if there's anything that needs tweaking there. And then I'm just going to mix everything, check the master, and we will go from there. So the first thing I really want to check is the kick. Now, the only thing with the kick is I think the transient might be a little too heavy still. So the only thing I would do there is kind of pick some sort of transient shaper potentially, just to kind of soften the kick, right? I do have a favorite transient shaper. You could use a different one. There's free ones out there. Transient Designer Plus does a good job. Yeah. Give it a bit more sustain as well so the sample just kind of pokes out a little longer. Just makes it a little more tech housey. I just find this one's a bit too punchy, right? It off. I always like to do the parallel mix a bit at 50% or thereabouts too, just to make sure it's not a full-on change. One thing I'm going to try, I don't know if it's going to work, could be a terrible failure, is I'm going to try pitching the kick down one semitone. And just see if that has a bit more, like it will lengthen the sample a bit, but give it a bit more just length and, I don't know, just fullness maybe. I actually think that fits better in the mix, you know. I'm going to keep it like that. Now, one thing I am going to do here is actually, this is something I don't do in most genres, but I'm going to group the kick and bass into one group. And I'm just going to use some specific processing. First thing I'm going to do is chuck a limiter on only this group to ensure a level of consistency there. But I'm also going to use some saturation, potentially in parallel, but maybe not, just so we get this consistency to it. I'm going to try soft sine, but I might use analog clip. Soft sine has a bit more beefiness to the sound, adds a bit more sort of mid-range. So we're going to just turn that off to see what it sounds like. Yeah. 25% feels really good. There, we might switch it to analog clip just a sec to see what that sounds like. Kind of makes it feel like one unit, right? Which is really, really cool. Let's just keep that like that for now. See how that sounds in the context of the mix.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Spin down that. Spin down that. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that.
That feels really solid now. Really happy with that kick bass relationship. We might do a bit of low end compression on the master later, but that's fine for now. Let's just check these claps. Might just double check the low end of this clap. Make sure that it's as good as it could be. I think it's pretty good overall though. I am just going to kind of turn down the limiter. I may also use a glue compressor just as a clipper before that to just tame the transient even further. I'm going to bring the range down to 0 so we're not getting any compression, and make sure soft clip is turned on. Yeah. See that yellow LED? It means there's a really strong transient. I just feel like the clap was a bit too much like that.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Spin down that. Spin down that.
Now I feel like I can get a bit more volume out of the clap without it triggering my master limiter too hard. As for this hats rack, let's just listen to the kick, bass, clap, and hats together. I'm actually going to pitch down this sample here. Yeah. That feels solid. Bring in the top loop. I feel like, again, there probably doesn't need to be too much going on here. I'm just going to add a bit of a high pass. You know what? Not even necessary. Let's check the second one here. No. Not necessary, but what we are going to do is maybe pan these a bit left and right. We'll see how that sounds. Yeah, that opens up the mix tons. Just that little bit of panning, right?
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
I have my stereo bus set up. I'm going to send the clap to it.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
That'll just make the clap feel like it's marrying up with this extra stereo here. I might even do that to the hats too a little bit.
Yeah, come on.
And maybe this tambourine when it comes in. Which, by the way, I think this needs a bit of EQ. There we go.
Spin down that. Spin down that. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that.
That feels really solid, to be honest. This needs a filter, actually, I just realized. Yeah. Needs to be a bit louder.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Spin down that. Spin down that. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that. Beat in that. Beat in that. We got
This riser needs to be louder down here.
We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
Gonna bring this wash out a bit earlier to stop.
We got blast off in this. Yeah, down that. We got
Bit loud on the snare now.
we got blast off in this.
I am actually going to add a utility to the master here just to add a bit of volume difference. I do think it gets a little bit loud. Like we're just going to talk about 2.5 dB.
We got blast off in this. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
Nice, that's sounding good. Ride's pretty good, I think. Maybe a bit of stereo here. Yep.
Spin down that. Spin down that. Spin down that. Spin down that.
These bass mids could be a bit louder. Yeah, that's sounding good. As for the synth tees, let's go back here. I think it gets a little loud in the second half there, so I'm actually just gonna put a bit of a volume adjustment here for about 4 dB or so. Just a little bit. Just subtle change there. String, I think, sounds good. I want to add the same chorus effect I added to the lead over here, just to give it a bit more of an old school feel. It feels a bit too clean, maybe. Yeah, that's a bit better. Add a bit of reverb to it. Nice. I'm going to add some of that same reverb to my lead too. Yeah. I'm also going to high pass this a little more aggressively on the lead front. Give it a bit more of a boost. Yeah. Bit of the low mids out. This second vocal here, I might actually high pass even more. Just make it like a bright layer.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Down that, spin down that, down that, spin down that, spin down that, down that, spin down that.
Turn it down more.
Down that, spin down that. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
I think the kick bass could come down 0.5 a dB maybe.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Spin down that, spin down that.
Everything feels pretty good on the mic, on like the vertical front. Let's go horizontal and check everything. Add a bit of a fade to this sound. It's a cool sound actually. Yeah, just so that there's no click there.
We got blast off in this.
You know, I might steal that stab from here, make sure automation is unlocked, just to kind of add something different. Some reverb on this stab.
We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
I feel like, yeah, put this up a bit in volume. Just gonna go to all those. Copy that. Lock the automation so we don't copy that. But louder there.
Spin down that, spin down that. Yeah, come on, yeah, come on. Spin down that, spin down that. Put the beat in that, put the beat in that. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on, yeah, come on. Spin down that, spin down that. Put the beat in that, put the beat in that. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Sipping down that. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in.
I'm actually going to remove the sidechain trigger here. I think it will sound better without for a bit.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sipping down that. Sipping down that. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Spin down that. Spin down that. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that. 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 We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Spin down that. Spin down that. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Spin down that. Spin down that. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that. We got blast off in this. We got blast off in this.
You know, this is a bit of a, you could call this a bold move. I'm going to shift command duplicate this. We're going to actually add a drop 1D and then 1E. I just feel like this section doesn't quite, I don't get the fullness of it. I feel like it ends a bit too soon. And I actually want to keep the kick going through here.
We got blast off in this.
Yeah. I accidentally renamed all the clips to drop 1D, which is a funny little happening. I think maybe here I should pull out the shakers.
Blast off in this.
Yeah. Come on.
We got blast off in this.
And what I really want to do here is, where's our bass line? I'm going to copy this over to the mid bass, copy this over to the mid bass, and really fill in those gaps a lot more. Yeah, like this. Maybe even copy this over as it is a bit more. Make sure the chord stack thing is off here, so it's just the octave below.
We got blast off in this.
We're gonna mute the bass line here.
We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Spin down that. Spin down that. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that. We got blast off in this.
And I'm gonna just put our little impact at the end here. Great. That is pretty much it. I'm happy with this track. Let's go and give this a final listen from beginning to end. Let's appreciate our work. It feels mixed. It feels let's just double check the master really quick actually. I am going to put on one really quick plugin, a multi-band comp. I'm going to just put it on maybe like 30%. I am going to chuck on a quick glue compressor to make sure there's no like transients that are being like too loud. And I am going to give it a bit of a gain in the limiter. I am actually going to give it like probably extra 1 or 2 dB of headroom here just because it's clipping a bit too much. Want to make sure this glue compressor isn't working too hard. Gonna give the kick bass a little more energy there. Down one more on there on that utility and then up another on the limiter. This is just how you manage the headroom so your plugins here before the limiter don't go too hard. Nice. I'm really happy with this now. I'm gonna give this a full listen from start to finish. Is there anything else I need to do? Oh, one thing I was going to do before I forget it. Last minute changes. This mid bass I think just needs a little bit of stereo. As maybe does our lead. Yeah. Our stereo bus is really doing some great work. Do we need some reverb from that drums verb to the clap? Maybe a little bit. All right, let's give this a final listen, guys. I'm pretty happy with this final result. Let's see how we go.
Down that. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that. We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sit down that. Sit down that. Put the beat in that. Put the beat in that. 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 We got blast off in this. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Sit down that. Sit down that.
There you have it, guys. That is how to make tech house. I really hope you enjoyed this build. Again, if you want to dissect this project and go even deeper into it, you can grab this for free down below in the description. But more importantly, if you want to learn how to make music like this, if you want to improve your music quality to a point where it sounds like this when you're in the door making music like this that could be released out into the world, check below because you can apply it for my one-on-one coaching program, the Producer Launchpad, where I'll make a personalized plan for you. We'll jump on one-on-one calls. You'll jump on the group calls, learn from other producers as well. You'll get feedback from me every single week and tons more. And I would love to help you make music like this. So learn all about that and apply below. But guys, until next time, happy producing.